All right, so we got to talk about this, man. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, man. Corey, man. This is wild. So it looks like he got a situation going on in Georgia, man. So not only Texas, but it's actually Texas, Georgia, and Florida. But it looks like in Georgia, as you guys can see in the city of Atlanta, he has a traffic case. And this thing was filed in July 11 of 2024. And the total fees due were only $50. So I'm like, this man doesn't have $50 to pay off this case right here, this traffic case. Now, it seems minor, but you got to check out the charges here, right? This says 1 count driving in a circular or zigzag course, laying drags. Now, that by itself is not, it's nothing really crazy, right? But if you guys look at the case, the one in Texas, right, for the alleged kidnapping, if you read through that, it talks about him driving an excessive speed. So it definitely lines up. So, because this is an entirely different situation here. This is from July 11, 2024. So that would be 5 months before the whole kidnapping situation. And this man failed to appear twice. Or no, it's just once here. Like, this thing has been dragging over $50. That's crazy. $50. I thought this man said didn't he say he had $3 million in his bank account or something crazy like that? And he was making $1 million on each car raffle. Like, you're telling me you couldn't pay off $50? But like I was saying, right? So the case, this is a traffic case, right? It doesn't seem like outrageous, right? But the fact that he was cited for driving, what was it, like a zigzag or whatever, it definitely lines up to his driving behavior that is reported in this case right here. This is the one in Texas, right? The one with the 2 victims, right? So if you guys read this, it says one of the complainants was able to provide screenshots of her location from the Life 360 app, right? So the second sentence, first line, it says the screenshot also provides an estimated speed when traveling. I observed on one of the screenshots where it shows a map route where it appears to begin in the Bunker Hill area, and the route is on I-10 West all the way past Katy, Texas area. On the screenshot, it shows the time, 12:44 a.m. to 1:18 a.m. with an estimated speed of 106 miles per hour. So this is what I'm saying, right? The one in Georgia, it's about his driving behavior, right? His driving behavior is crazy. And I've seen videos of him where he's driving kind of reckless. So like I'm saying, like, this man's got problems in so many different states, man. So we got Georgia, Texas, and I think he's facing, I think it's eviction. He owes money in Florida. So this is crazy, man. We got to pull up the one in Florida, but we will do that one separately. I wanted to talk about this part right here. I circled it right here. This is a big paragraph. But it seems like they're dragging that girl Precious, the one that he's, I guess, hiding with in Dubai. They're dragging her into this. This is going to be wild. So I'm only going to read where I circled it with the yellow highlighter. You guys can read this whole thing if you want to. But it says here, complainant Rochelle stated she notices they are now passing, that's kind of small here, they are now passing up Katy Mills, where the defendant makes a phone call to an unknown female. All right? He's making a phone call to an unknown female. And then in parentheses, it says that he had saved on his phone as future wife. Wow. That he had saved on his phone as future wife. And it gets worse, man. caller call to an unknown female, caller, where she is put on video chat, but her face is not shown on the screen, and they are having a casual conversation. Both complainants stated that the defendant then asked the female caller if he had the perfect opportunity and was driving in the middle of nowhere, and no one could hear them scream. Speaking of both complainants. Now, this is all alleged based on the complainants, the victims, right? The two females that claimed that he kidnapped them, right? So this is according to them, but also the police, based on what evidence they shared with the officer that, obviously created this report, then they established probable cause. So this is not like, it's not like a reasonable suspicion or mere suspicion. Obviously, they have probable cause to get to this point. So I just wanted to mention that. So where was I right here? So he was on the phone with his future wife, right? Caller, where she's put on video chat, but her face is not shown on the screen, and they're having a casual conversation. Both complainants stated the defendant then asked the female caller if he had the perfect opportunity and was driving in the middle of nowhere, and no one could hear them scream. Speaking of both complainants, and no one could ever find him. Should he just go ahead and do it? Both complainants stated the unknown female responded with a yes. Wow. Both complainants stated that they knew at this point the defendant was going to take them in the middle of nowhere and delete them. I ain't going to say all that. And delete them, seeing that he also had a weapon. I'm just going to say that weapon in his possession, but stated that they feared for their lives. Complainant Rochelle was sitting in the front passenger seat, and complainant Ragazi was sitting in the rear passenger seat. Both complainants were on their phones texting each other of the situation. The defendant noticed that both complainants were on their phones. The text is too small. Complainant Rizai stated the defendant then snatched complainant's phone from her hand and then looked back at the complainant Ragazi and pointed the gun at her and demanded her to turn over the phone, which she does. Complainant then stated the defendant then turned off the cellular data on both of their phones and continued to drive at a high rate of speed. See, that's the one thing right here is the speed factor, which definitely lines up. So although we might, some people might be able to poke holes. Like if he gets a really good attorney, he might be able to poke holes in the story, right? But it's just like his way of handling the situation is what's going to make it really bad. If he had, first of all, just kept his mouth closed and not ran away, then, this situation could have probably gotten dismissed if he got a real solid attorney. But yeah, he's just making the whole situation worse. And now they got that girl Precious dragged into it. This is not good, man. This ain't good at all. But like I was saying, this speed factor. So even if we poke holes at the complainants, the victims, that speed thing is definitely true because we see it happening in Georgia. He's driving erratically. They caught them there. And that was like 5 months before this. So there is some valid points in this statement right here. But this is going to be wild. And like I said, I think it's getting worse because of his actions. If this man was able to get a solid attorney and keep his mouth shut, they would probably be able to poke holes in this story. But this man going on social media and showing you guys and also testifying on himself and talking about the ages of these girls and how they met and what they did afterwards, it's just like, come on, man. Like, stop, man. What are you doing? This is crazy. And I think they might also get him for the fact that he fled. Like I said, if he had kept his mouth shut and didn't say why he left, then they probably wouldn't get him on those charges, because I think those might be actual federal charges. I'm not sure, but I think when you flee to evade prosecution or charges pending on you, then I think they have a different charge for that. I don't know what it's called. Let me look it up on a different screen. So I just Googled it. It says, the federal crime of being a fugitive from justice occurs when you flee to another state or country with the intent to do the following: try to avoid prosecution or prison for a felony or attempted felony charge. And this is definitely a felony charge, kidnapping, right? So I don't know if they're going to tack on that charge, the fugitive from justice. But by the way, I'm just reading this off a different screen, but this is crazy, man. I would have never thought CoreySSG would be going through this, man. This is crazy. This is wild. And like I said, I mean, this whole thing, I think, could have been, considering if his background is clean. I don't know his background, I don't know his criminal record, but if it was clean, I mean, he's a young guy. I think he said he's like 24 or something like that, 25, 26. So if he doesn't have anything in his record, with a good attorney, this man could have this case could have possibly gotten dismissed, or it would have been reduced to something smaller, maybe a misdemeanor or something like that. But the fact that he gets on here and he runs his mouth and says things that could incriminate him, it's crazy. It's like, bro, you got to calm your ass down. You talking way too much. And then he's showing evidence, like he pulled up clips of him with those two girls. So it's like, bro, you making it really hard for an attorney if you hire an attorney, because you doing way too much. Like, you need to calm down. It's like, damn, this is crazy. But yeah, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just thought, it just seems like they're going to try to drag that girl Precious into this. And obviously he's with her in Dubai. He's probably living possibly under her name. I don't think he's living under his name. Otherwise, they probably would have found him by now. So if he's not living with Precious, he's living with somebody. So that's going to be a pretty big challenge, unless he tries to travel and they put him on a watch list or something. But that's just my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this, man. This is crazy. We're talking about CoreySSG and these charges, and it hasn't even been freaking 4 days. It's just been 4 days since the year started, and your boy Corey is already, wow. Yo, this is crazy. But anyways, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments.